Vanhunks Pro Staff member. I worked with Tyrone at Vanhunks, and one of the things we talked about that we wanted to accomplish was introduce into the world a good video on how to mount a transom mount trolling motor. So this is going to be a three-part series. So the first part is going to be me walking you through all the parts you're going to need to do this. And now this is to be done on a Shad made by Vanhunks. But you can take it and use it on pretty much any model out there that has some sort of mount that you can use in the transom. So everything is going to be specific to this boat here, but you can take it and adjust it to your needs. It's not that hard. So we're going to walk through everything from the trolling motor to the battery to the transom mount itself. We partnered with Amp Outdoors. They have the best lithium-ion batteries in the world. So that's what we're going to be using for our power source. And so let's get into it. I'm going to relocate the camera and we're going to get into all the parts that you're going to need. All right guys, so here we are. This is everything you're going to need. I put it all inside the kayak so we have a nice easy platform to work from. So first and foremost, we're going to start by talking about the trolling motor. What we're using today is a Minn Kota 45-pound thrust Endura Max trolling motor. What I will tell you is what I'm going to do for this video is remove the actual head from this trolling motor, because a lot of people who are buying trolling motors for kayaks, they're looking for the best bang for their buck. And the Endura Max Series has a PWM built into the head already. But we don't want to use that, because if you buy just the regular Endura Series or if you buy one of the Newport motors, they're going to come with just an on-off and basically a speed selector. That's it. So when I talk about a PWM, it's a power width modulation unit. And what it's doing is it's taking your DC voltage coming into the PWM and sending it out in frequency to the motor. And what this does is, instead of having a constant on, you have an on-off, on-off, on-off. The motor just sees it as one constant motion, but you are conserving battery juice very well. So that's the trolling motor. Once we remove the head though, we're gonna have a pipe just sticking up. So we're gonna take PVC, some elbows, and with the Minn Kota series, you can use a 3/4 inch PVC. And we're gonna create a 90-degree bend with a 45-degree out on it. And what that's gonna allow us to do is run the wires up and out of the trolling motor without having to worry about introducing a way for water to get into the trolling motor. It's gonna keep it dry. We're gonna seal it up nice and well with some silicone. So next we'll talk about the PWM. So this PWM I got off of eBay. What I will tell you is, for all PWMs, for trolling motors, you want 100 amp peak, 60 amp continuous at a minimum. Don't go with the 60 amp max, 40 amp continuous, because it's just going to overheat and burn out quicker. So what we're going to do with this PWM is it's going to get mounted in this waterproof box. The waterproof box doesn't really make a difference, because we're obviously going to end up drilling holes, because we're going to end up mounting some 12-volt fans within the PWM box to keep it cool. So you're going to want the fans to introduce outside air and exhaust inside air. Next up is the PWM Controls Box. So I bought this box off of Amazon, and all these parts I will list where I got them and how much they cost, so you can have an understanding of what it's going to look like. So this is going to get mounted somewhere over here next to our seat, and it's going to have the rotary potentiometer. It'll have the selection switch for forward, off, and reverse. It'll have the power setting you're using based on the digital output, and eventually we're going to have a battery shut off on here as well. That will, if the kayak tips over, it'll send a signal to the PWM to shut the power off. With all this stuff, the controls actually have to get removed from the PWM. Let me get these fans out of the way. So this switch has to be removed from the PWM. This potentiometer has to be removed from the PWM. And we're gonna end up removing this LED indicator from the PWM. What we use to relocate it is Cat 5 cable. So it's all low voltage, and it doesn't need to be shielded. So we're gonna run 2 Cat 5 cables, which should handle all the connections that we need, going from the PWM box, which is gonna be mounted somewhere back here, to the control box, which will be mounted somewhere up forward. So that's gonna be the wire that's gonna handle the communications. Next up is gonna be power. what I will tell you is to look at your trolling motor manufacturer's recommendation for gauge of wire. This being a 45-pound thrust motor, you're looking at 10 gauge wiring, and don't be cheap on the wiring. You can find a lot of wiring on Amazon for cheap, but it's copper clad aluminum, which is garbage in my eyes. You want straight, regular copper wiring. And then, because we like to make things so we can take them in and out of the kayak easy so they don't get stolen if you don't live in the best of areas, I bought these off of Amazon. I think they were like $8 for a 4-pack. What they do is they turn our connections into high amperage, quick disconnect battery connections. So we will have one of these that goes from the battery to the PWM. We'll have one that goes from the PWM to the motor. And well, when I say one, I mean a pair. So that way we can take the PWM out, we can take the battery out, we can take the motor out, we can take it all out. Nothing's going to be fixed permanently. Up next, that's going to be very important, cable loom. I got this off Amazon. All of this cable is not rated for exterior use, so constant UV beating will dry out the cases, they'll crack, they'll go bad, especially with the Cat 5 cases. I've seen it happen in a week, 2 weeks out in my job experience. So next up, that's going to be pretty important, is our power source. So what we have for a power source, ready? This is an 80 amp hour lithium battery. It weighs 23 pounds. 23 pounds, guys. A regular car battery weighs between 30 40 pounds, but this is the equivalent of a diesel engine deep cycle battery. Craziness. Amped Outdoors partnered with us for this project. This battery is hands down one of the best batteries you are going to find on the market. Their warranty is hands down the best warranty in the market. There's no gimmicks to their warranty. It's all clearly written out. You just got to read it and you're good. We also need to mount the battery in something. So I have a Camco battery box, and then we're going to need to mount the trolling motor to the kayak. So Vanhunks sent me a trolling motor mount for a Transom, and yeah, so we're going to be good to go with that. What we're going to do also, that's going to be pretty creative. I saw a guy on YouTube do this. I don't remember his name, otherwise I'd give him credit right now, but I will put it in the links when I find it. We're going to take these pipe hangers from Home Depot, and they're going to get clamped around the shaft of the trolling motor, and then these eye bolts will come off either side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to relocate the controls from the rudder. Rudder's going to come off. The controls will then get tied to on carabiners to the eye bolts. So when we operate our foot controls, or I'm actually probably going to end up using the hand controls, it'll just turn the trolling motor and steer the boat with the trolling motor as opposed to needing a rudder. So this basically covers the majority of what you're going to need. If I run into needing more stuff as I do this build, I'll put it in the comments. I'll make sure I mention it later on in the video. But I think that we're pretty good here. So what the next video is going to cover is how to actually do the installs. A lot of what you're going to see, I'm going to pre-do on camera, but I'm going to do it in a time lapse, so you just see me puttering around really fast, making stuff. And then we're going to do a regular video of actually doing the mounting, the assembly, and the connecting, and then testing. And then the third video is we're going to take it out in the water. We're going to see what works, what doesn't work, what we'd like to improve, and run a comment section from there. So I thank everybody for your time, and I look forward to you guys watching this video. As always, comment, like, subscribe my channel. Let's get this to the top.